we're here to live, then why are we killing ourselves? Why are we eating saturated fats? Why are we polluting our bodies? Well, obesity and diabetes come hand in hand, and today I'm going to be talking about type 1 diabetes and obesity. So many kids, colleagues, family, friends all have this type of disorder, or majority of them, excuse me. And it's really something in our society that is just getting worse and worse as time goes on. So right now, 53.1 million Americans in 2025 will have diabetes, which is a 63% increase from today, which is an astronomical number. The Diabetes Project will increase to $514 million in 2020, excuse me, which is a 72% increase from today. So it's something that is just getting worse and worse, and something needs to happen. So what possible solutions are for this epidemic? Well, I'm here to tell you why we need to exercise, proper foods, and as well as the importance of the change that's actually needed. So the problem with obesity, well, actually, let me get this first. Obesity is your blood, your body mass index, and if it's 30% or higher, you consider obese. Majority of us are from, let's say, 8 to 25%. So it really is up to you on putting forth effort into trying and finding a cure to this problem. So our first problem is that the United States is our most unhealthy country in the entire world, and we need to find a disease prevention. And according to the Disease Prevention Center, 34.9% of U.S. citizens are obese, and that is 78.6 million people, and the number is only going up. 69% of those people are 20 years and older, and with younger ages, we're seeing more increased rates, but at the same time, they're still kind of getting their gist, and they haven't really hit that hormonal stage where they go and gain a bunch of weight. So the second problem is the impact that fast food has on us. And what really affects us with that is our society is so fast paced and everybody needs to get that quick meal, so they just resort to either like Culver's, McDonald's, I mean anything that you really get on a daily basis. And 1 in 4 adults consume that regularly. And if you go and consider a number, that's 300,000 deaths from fast food each year. So, for instance, schools culinary programs, for instance, they teach these kids at a young age that they need these quick meals. They only eat once a day. So, and for instance, the culinary program at Wayzata High School, where we used to go to, they had it open 24/7. You could go by there and stop by and use your parents' money, and it's really just like you're using tokens. It's not your money, and you just go and consume all these garbage foods. So you're teaching these kids at a young age not the right etiquette of actually consuming foods. We need organic foods and much healthier consumption. And right now, it's the problem with this is it's serving faster, less filling, less quality, and unhealthier foods. But on the other hand, it also is a big financial issue for Medicare as well. For instance, actually, let me get to this right here. This is 1 teaspoon right here, and a can of Coke has got, I believe it is 10 teaspoons of sugar, which is equivalent to 40 grams of sugar. And when you put that into a 2,000 calorie diet, which is your average American consumption, and that equals to, if I drink one of these, that's my whole consumption of sugars for that entire day. So granted, if you're exercising or you're walking around, they're gonna deplete, but in the end, if you consume that, that's your whole daily levels. So, I mean, if you're serving this product and people are drinking it on a daily basis, then you're not moving forward, or you're not bettering our country in any possible way. So in 2020, 52% of all citizens will either have pre-diabetes or diabetes, which, I mean, that's almost half our population. And for instance, you have insulin, and insulin is actually just a temporary cure. People think that it's kind of the savior to diabetes, but in the long run, what's going to happen is you're still going to have kidney failure, blindness, nerve damage, heart attack, stroke, joint pains from carrying around too much excess weight. And I have an interesting read from Harvard. They did a study, and in 1950, 30% of Americans worked in high activity occupations, and by 2000, the proportion has dropped to 22%. And for low activity, it went from 23% to 43%, which what you kind of see here is society having to go and have all the, I mean, for instance, we're having sit-down jobs, we're working 8 to 5, and all you're doing is sitting down in a chair. You have people have better transportation and means with that, and even 40% of the U.S. school children in 1969 rode their school bus to school, and walked or rode their bikes to school. And in 2001, only 13% did. So you're seeing change where all these kids aren't going and being active, and you need to compensate that. So my answer to this is we need running. We need to go and run, sport. Do basically 2.5 hours of vigorous activities weekly. And Harvard did a study, and they said that isn't even enough. If you do 30 minutes each day, then you're going to sway towards success. You're going to lose weight. And for instance, if you don't go and exercise, then you need to compensate that with eating better foods. And when I say better foods, I mean no fast food, low sodium meats, low fat yogurts, organic foods. You have your whole food store. You want to use that as really your base to going and buying foods. And the easier part to eating like that is if you go and stretch those out, instead of having like three of your morning breakfast or morning, lunch, and dinner meals, you go and split it up into 5. So you never feel hungry, you never feel like you overate, and in the long run, it's going to help you lose fat and it'll limit your carbs and your intake that your body can go and intake with fat. And there's other websites that can go and help you out with meal plans, such as like you have I know bodybuilder.com, that's one of them. You also have thedailymeal.com, as well as Slimgenics. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but that'll give you a more accurate reading of your weekly intake and what you're actually getting, so you can compensate for it. So it's easy to understand why our society is so fat. We live off fast food, we work long hours sitting down, as well as it's hard to find exercise when you have such busy days these days, and everything is so much more efficient. So thanks to the increase of obesity and all the awareness and the development of specific solutions, I would like to have you guys join me in revamping your eating habits and your exercise structure. What you eat is what you are. Stay healthy.
Society is so fast.